They say every coin has two sides, but often during my 17 years working the road, you learn that some coins are struck or weighted differently. Some have three sides: dangerous, desperate, and downright unbelievable. In this episode, we will look at an address that proved it to me. The instant I stepped out of my cruiser, I was met by the strong smell of gas fumes in the air. I knew this could go bad fast. Bob had gone mad during a drunken argument with his wife, Sheena, who was trying to protect her family and her home, and I was dropped right in the middle of it. This is the first story in a collection of three completely different scenarios of reality. Same trailer, same couple. You never know what version of someone's world you're walking into. On this particular occasion, the woman had reported to dispatch that her husband had soaked the inside of their trailer with gasoline and was threatening to burn it all down with them inside it after going off on her over something. I was the only unit on duty at the time, so I responded as quickly as possible and found Sheena standing in the driveway with her young child. The air was thick with fumes, as Sheena explained how Bob had emptied a large can of gasoline throughout their trailer and was going to burn it. She said he had been drinking heavily and had been angry at her all day. While I was speaking with her, Bob walked out of the trailer onto the covered porch that ran from the door to the driveway and held up a lighter. He told me that if I came anywhere near him, he would light it on fire. Sheena went into an instant panic and said her dog was still inside. She ran towards the door on the opposite side of the trailer. I told her not to go, but she ignored me and went inside with her little one following behind. Bob saw them move for the back door and broke the other way, sprinting for the closest door, yelling he was going to burn it all down with everybody inside. I bolted towards him and pushed through the front door, trying to intercept before he got to Sheena and their child. I hit the doorway, already processing the threat, my hand moving to clear the holster. I knew I was justified if it went there. Then I stepped inside, and the gasoline hit me. Thick, heavy, unmistakable. The entire equation changed in an instant. One trigger pull, and it wouldn't matter who sparked it, him or me. The outcome would be the same. We all go up. I pulled off of Plan A mid-motion and shut it down. No hesitation. Plan B wasn't something I had. It was something I had built in real time, second by second. He was yelling at her when I saw him bring the lighter up, ready to strike it. The chaos between them gave me the opening I needed. I drove through him and took him to the floor hard, sending the lighter flying from his hand and skidding across the carpet. We crashed into the furniture as we went down. He immediately started driving with his legs, pushing off anything he could to gain leverage, reaching, fighting to get back to that lighter. I yelled for Sheena to get out. She grabbed her child and they ran, the dog right behind them. On the ground, it turned into a fight. He kept pushing, inching, trying to get close to the lighter to ignite that spark. I stayed locked on his hands, knowing exactly what he was trying to do. It felt like it stretched on forever. Eventually, I broke his leverage, forced his arms behind his back, and got the cuffs on. Just like that, it was over. The fireball he was fighting for never came. The only thing stronger than the gasoline was the alcohol on Bob. The fight drained out fast, and the yelling stopped as the weight of what almost happened finally hit him. I charged him with multiple felonies for putting all of us in that position. It took days to get the smell of gasoline out of my nose. But I was grateful that was the worst thing I had carried away from it. That wasn't the first or last time I was called to that trailer. Not even close. Another one was at 2 a.m., just as I was getting ready to go off duty. My dispatcher advised me she had received a 911 call, and the caller became extremely belligerent with her, as he expected EMS to magically appear as soon as he called. Bob told her that Sheena was eating a cabbage roll and got choked on a toothpick. The dispatcher told him that EMS would be on its way, and he asked how long that would take. She told him at least 20 to 30 minutes, as they had to respond from across the county, since there was no full-time EMS in his immediate area. Bob then began to curse the dispatcher relentlessly and hung up. I arrived just after EMS, and I went inside to make sure things were calm before the others walked in. Bob then said, "Well, it's about time. Good thing she ain't dead. She got choked on the damn Ors Du-vers a half hour ago. Where the hell you all been?" Wrong move, Bob. I then escorted him to the hallway so that EMS could treat his wife. I said, "Bob, evidently you all didn't realize that we can't just beam ourselves into your living room like Scotty at 2 a.m. on a weeknight when most working people are in bed. And another thing, you will never curse a dispatcher like that again when they are only trying to help you." Well, Bob took exception to that, squared up his shoulders, and said, "You can't come into my trailer and talk to me like that." I replied with a finger point to my shoulder patch. I said, "You see this patch, Bob? Do you see Della Hollow blacked out?" He shook his head and said, "Well, no." I said, "That's right. So when you decide to call at 2 a.m. and act a fool over hors d'oeuvres, I will be standing in your living room just like this, having a discussion with you. So while these fine people treat your wife, you're going to apologize to my dispatcher. She's a nice lady and did not deserve your behavior. Are we clear?" He shook his head yes. I called dispatch on his landline and had him apologize to my dispatcher. Twice, as the first one did not seem sincere enough. After we came to an understanding, and once EMS made sure Sheena was going to make it, we headed out. My dispatcher called later to thank me and said she had to cover her mouth when I made him do it a second time like he was 5 years old. Now, the final time I had an interaction with Sheena on Della Hollow was when she called in like Paul Revere, only instead of the British, she reported she had seen the Texas 7 prison escapees walking up her road. I responded and asked her why she thought that. She was clearly a bit startled, as Bob was away serving time for the previously mentioned gasoline-related encounter. She said she saw several men walking up the road and knew that had to be them. My response: "Sheena, why on God's green earth would the 7 prison escapees or at least several of them, set out from Texas with the final destination of Della Holler in southeastern Kentucky. Who up in here would they know? You know or are related to everyone in this holler. She said, "Oh, good point, Trooper Hall." Needless to say, after a quick canvass of the area, none of the said escapees were located, and the young man walking his coon dog hadn't seen them either. As I drove away from Della Hollow that last time, I remember looking in the rearview mirror as the trailer faded into the summer foliage that surrounded it. It's easy for people to look at a couple like Bob and Sheena and want to put them in a box or a category. To a court system, they're a case file. To the neighbors, they are likely a nuisance. And to a rookie police officer in a situation like the one I was put in, they're an unexpected danger. But the reality is, they live in the gray. In one shift, Bob is a villain holding a lighter in a trailer soaked with gasoline. In the next, he's just a frightened, hungover husband, terrified that his sweetheart is near death as a result of an errant toothpick from a cabbage roll. And Sheena, she's a mother running into a potential firestorm to rescue her child's dog one day, and a woman thinking she has nabbed a pack of Texas escapees in her Kentucky holler on another. That's the part of the badge they don't teach you in the academy. You aren't just patrolling an assigned county or two. You're patrolling the messy, complicated, and sometimes ridiculous spectrum of human nature. You have to be ready to deliver a forum tackle at 6 p.m. and a lecture on manners at 2 a.m. We walk into those worlds every day, never knowing which version of reality is waiting behind the door. We handle the black, we handle the white, but we live and survive in the gray. Thank you for riding along for episode 6. I'm DK Hall, and I'll see you next time, a little further down the road.